Hey everyone, Diavolo here, and in today's video, we're going to be diving into a brand new series that has recently taken the anime community by storm. I've absolutely loved getting into the series and riding the hype train that Twitter is on every single week that an episode releases now, and of course, this is the extremely cute and heartwarming, yet still somehow exciting, enthralling, and action-packed world of Spy X Family. In this first video, we're going to be going over the first full arc of the series, the introduction arc. Throughout this arc here, we are introduced to our protagonist of the story, the wonderfully perfect man that is the master spy, Twilight. We learn of his mission called Operation Strix, which is to maintain the peace between the two countries of Westalis and Ostania. However, along the way, he runs into some completely unforeseen situations that make for some absolutely awesome interactions. If you do want me to cover more of obviously Spy X Family's story, then do be sure to let me know down in the comment section below and try to push this video to 2,000 likes so I know you're all keen on the next part. Also, if you are interested in more anime content just like this, where I explain full arcs and stories, then make sure you hit that subscribe button as well. But anyway, enough of that, let's get into this dope-ass world of Spy X Family. After the death of one of their diplomats in a car accident in Ostania, the heads of Westalis met to discuss the situation. They believe it wasn't an accident, but an assassination by the East's far-right political party. Believing that they plan war against Westalis, one of them suggests that they send their best agent, Twilight. Elsewhere, a man provides proof that the foreign minister wears a toupee. A disguised man takes the pictures, stating that he can now force him to resign, then leaves in a car. A moment later though, the real person, Edgar, comes to take the pictures, causing the first man to realise that he was played. That evening, Twilight is out on a date with Karen, which is like honestly perfect person to start complaining, and she literally does. She starts complaining that her father was in a bad mood since someone had stolen pictures. She then sees a man proposing to a woman and wonders if they'll ever get married as well. But Twilight interrupts her, stating that they should break up as he doesn't sense any intelligence in her. Good old Twilight and his trillionaire grindset only apologizes in his mind after obtaining these pictures as he has no use of her anymore. He throws away his disguise, stating he got rid of marriage aspirations as well as his identity the day he became a spy. The next day, Twilight receives a newspaper containing information about his next mission. They congratulate him for the success of his last mission and explain that his new mission involves the leader of the National Unity Party, Donovan Desmond. Twilight needs to get close to him and probe any revolutionary activities, but in a complete twist to complete this, he will need to get married and somehow have a child. This is because Donovan is a cautious man who only appears at social gatherings held at the school his son attends. Twilight will need to enroll his child there and infiltrate the gatherings. As the deadline for the enrollment is near, he only has 1 week to somehow pull this off, but even still, he ends up accepting the mission. Later, Twilight goes out looking for a family apartment. After inspecting it and finding that it has good escape routes, he decides to take it. He signs the documents as Lloyd Forger, a psychiatrist. He then visits an orphanage, and because the man there was a drunk who doesn't care, he tells him to take whichever child he wants. Which is honestly kinda sus, dude, like you don't want your orphanages just giving away kids. Twilight then states he prefers a child that can read, and the man points out at Anya. While looking at her, Twilight thinks that she needs to be older than 6. Randomly, Anya then states that she is 6 years old. Twilight thinks that she's a bit short though, but then Anya immediately tries to make herself taller, standing on her tippy toes. She then takes a crossword, and as Twilight starts solving the crossword puzzle in his mind, Anya listens, then hands him the crossword, all solved, leaving him completely and utterly surprised. He then gets excited she would pass the exam easily, deciding to take her. However, in reality, Anya is actually a telepath who is able to read his thoughts and gets excited at the idea of being in on a spy mission. Heading home, Twilight tells her that she must say she was always his daughter. Entering the apartment, Anya turns the TV on and sees Spy Wars, stating that it's her favourite show. Having to forge an ID for her, Twilight says that he has to go out, but Anya decides to go with him. While out, Anya gets overwhelmed in between the crowd, and a completely random chick tells Twilight to give a hold of his daughter. Holding her hand, Twilight thinks that it will be hard for him to prepare for an enemy attack, and because Anya is able to read his mind, she starts panicking and goes to hide. But to achieve his mission, Twilight thinks that he must start to understand her and build a good relationship. Hearing these thoughts, Anya states that she likes peanuts and crispy bacon, pointing out at a sign. But Twilight corrects her that it is a bakery instead and that they do not sell bacon. Anya attempts to buy a Spy Wars poster with a 10p coin, but the shop owner states that it costs $1, which is the currency of this world. Don't know if I said that right, but I hope I did. Seeing this, Twilight starts to wonder if she's actually stupid and should take her back for another child. Anya though instantly starts crying, asking him to not get rid of her. As she causes a scene, he offers to buy her peanuts and she instantly calms down. Before heading home, he ends up buying some books about child raising. The next day, Twilight wants to see how smart Anya is, but she refuses to study. Annoyed, he goes out and demands that she stays home. Yet, as expected, Anya still attempts to follow him, getting caught each time that she tries to escape. In order to keep her home, he ends up barricading the front door to the house. Later, Twilight meets with Frankie Franklin, which is another dope-ass name, and explains why he was late. Frankie gives him an application, ticket for the exam, and exam questions. He then gives him all the information he could find on Anya, but the only info is from the last year, where she was adopted 4 times and later returned each. Elsewhere at the house while bored, Anya recalls that Twilight locked all of his spy equipment and goes to play with it. Finding a transmitter, she sends a hilarious message that she is the infamous Twilight and mocks them for trying to find her. Returning home, Twilight notices that the front door's barricade isn't like he left it. Entering inside, he gets ambushed but manages to beat all of the men. Unable to find Anya, he believes that she has been kidnapped and it's due to him being compromised. While thinking of running away, a man suddenly attacks him from behind, knocking him unconscious. The men bring Anya to Edgar, stating that she was in the room where the message was transmitted. Edgar wonders if she is Twilight's child, but decides to use her as a hostage to make Twilight steal the toupee off of the foreign minister. One of the men suggests that they give up on the toupee, but Edgar shoots him, explaining that transparency is essential in government and that the minister is a traitor. The rest of the men, having captured Twilight, return. Edgar then removes the bag from his head, but sees his man, Nguyen, and that the fake Nguyen is gone, along with Anya. As Twilight runs with Anya, she starts crying though. Twilight recalls that he probably hates kids crying because it reminds him of his own past, where he was alone and helpless, able to only cry. After getting out of the building, he gives her a note and tells Anya to run to the police. He doesn't think he is a failure as a spy, but made a huge mistake to put a little girl in danger, and regrets forgetting that he became a spy in order to create a world where children won't have to cry. Twilight returns to the building and sets up traps. Then as Edgar's men come, they activate the traps, releasing flour everywhere throughout the room. Using this to their advantage, Twilight takes them on one by one. He then points a gun at Edgar's head and asks him how Karen is, making Edgar wonder how he knows the name of his daughter. Twilight explains that he is a spy and knows everything, continuing to threaten Edgar to leave him alone if he wishes his daughter to have a normal life. Walking out of the building, Twilight sees Anya waiting for him. As she comes to him, he acts like he doesn't know anything. Anya explains she played tag with some old guys, but it was scary and wants to go home. Recalling how she was returned each time after the adoptions, Twilight agrees and takes her, but explains that they might have to change apartments as they found a bloody snake in theirs. Later on, and on the day of the exam, Anya tries to read the minds of the other kids, but they are all panicking as none of them know the answers. She then remembers what she had studied with Twilight and writes it down. After the exam, he and Anya look at the board with the past students and Twilight sees Anya on the list. As he relaxes, all of his exhaustion suddenly hits him, making him fall onto the ground. At home, Twilight is passed out on the couch when the mailman comes. Anya tries to give him the letter, but as he doesn't react, she ends up cuddling in right next to him. Twilight then wakes up, surprised that he ended up falling asleep in front of someone. Anya then gives him the mail, and reading it, Twilight learns that the second phase of the admission process is a family interview. Needing a wife for the interview, Twilight calls Frankie and dresses him up as a woman, yet he doesn't like the result. Frankie complains, stating that Twilight could have done better, but he explains that this is the best he can do with what he has to work with. Recalling the mission, Twilight decides that he has no choice but to actually look for a wife. At Berlin City Hall, Camilla gossips that a thief may have entered the office, but had only searched the drawers with the information about the girls. However, Millie finds the chief to be hella creepy, as he always gives her the fucking look, if you know what I mean. Sharon states that it's due to the short skirts Millie always wears, but Millie explains it's because her boyfriend likes them. They then see Yor making coffee for the section chief, and they suggest adding boogers, but Yor wonders if that would actually make the coffee taste better. Seeing how cracked she actually is, they comment that the guys are probably staying away from her, but still, she has a nice body and face, so if she happened to use better clothes and makeup, she will be quite attractive. Yora's fine with her job, but Camilla points out that she is 27 years old and single, and with the increase in spies, people have started reporting anything that is a tiny bit suspicious, including a recent case where neighbours reported a single woman in her late 20s. Camilla states she is having a party this weekend and invites Yor to come with a partner. Later that night, Yor receives a call from her brother Yuri. He is slightly worried about her since she is kinda odd. Yuri explains that there is a slight chance he will be promoted and become even busier, but he is worried about leaving his sister alone. He suggests on introducing her to someone, yet she explains that that wouldn't be necessary as she is going to a party this weekend with her partner. Yuri is surprised that she actually has a boyfriend. However, hearing that it's Camilla's party, Yuri explains that he will be asking Dominic about what type of guy Yor is dating, and if he happens to be some sort of loser, Yuri will chase him away. As she hangs up, Yor wonders on what to do. If Yuri finds out she lied, he will lose even more trust in her. The phone then suddenly rings again, and Yor rushes to pick it up. She tries to immediately explain to Yuri that she was joking. However, it's just the shopkeeper who states that she is a client for the Thorn Princess at Royal Hotel Room 1307. Yor then heads to the hotel, and on Room 1307's floor, the guard tells her that the floor is reserved. However, Yor states that she has heard that there are traitorous scumbags that are there. She then pulls out a blade and kills the guards. Entering the room, she explains that she is actually there to kill the Vice Minister, Brennan. In a crazy turn of events, she proceeds to kill everyone. It is explained that she is actually an assassin with the codename Thorn Princess, who has been taught since a young age. As she washes the blood off, she sees that she has ruined her only good dress and states that the only good homemaking skills she has are cleaning. Elsewhere, Frankie gives Twilight all copies of files of unmarried women from the city hall. Finding a woman who doesn't care he is divorced with a kid, is refined enough for a prestigious school, and willing to get married within 48 hours will be a miracle. Anya wonders if a child is a problem, but Twilight is a straight shooting legend and assures her that it isn't, telling her to go watch TV instead. Frankie wonders why Twilight doesn't use a female agent from his work, but Twilight states that he couldn't find a good match. As they don't have enough agents currently, Twilight also has another mission, where he needs to eliminate a certain smuggling ring. While going over the files for this ring, Frankie suggests the fastest way would be to find a woman with bad circumstances who will cooperate with them, but Twilight wishes to avoid any risks. Frankie then points out that Anya is risky herself, as she doesn't look rich. Agreeing with that, Twilight then decides to buy Anya some new clothes. Later on, while Anya is getting measured at the tailor, Twilight recalls the files of some of the women there. Suddenly, Yor passes behind him, bringing the dress she ruined, now wanting it fixed. Twilight recalls her file, a single woman with both parents deceased and a younger brother, both working as civil servants with clean records. Yor notices that Twilight had been staring at her and asks him why. Initially surprised, he then states he was actually admiring her beauty. Hearing that he likes her and also needing a partner, Yor thinks about asking him out, but Anya then returns, and seeing he has a child, Yor backs off as she heard that women have been killed by wives for trying to steal their husbands. Reading her mind though, Anya learns that Yor is actually an assassin, which gets her super excited. She then reads Twilight's mind, finding that he was considering Yor for a wife, and also reading Yor's mind that she was considering Twilight for a partner, but is now backing off. Anya then starts acting and saying that she's lonely because she has no mother. Yor then wonders where Twilight's wife is, and he explains that she had died 2 years ago. Learning that, Yor decides to ask him to be her partner to a party. She explains the situation with her brother, and Twilight agrees. However, he then explains his situation, and admiring his opposed morals, Yor agrees too. The two then agree to meet again at Saturday's party. Later on, while shopping, Twilight receives instructions for his other mission. Deciphering it, he learns he needs to retrieve stolen art pieces and eliminate a smuggling ring. He must carry the mission out at 1800 hours on Saturday, when the target meets with the buyer. Skipping forward and now on Saturday, he decides to take Frankie with him to finish the mission faster and still be able to attend the party. Yet, Frankie is against it because he is terrible with the hands. However, Twilight states that there are 78 pieces of art that are worth millions, and no one would have noticed if 1 or 2 pieces go missing. Hearing that, Frankie gets motivated and agrees to go. During the mission, they manage to retreat alone. There, Yor apologizes to everyone for being late and that her partner wasn't able to come. The woman gossiped though that they were sure her boyfriend didn't even exist. Dominic is sorry that he couldn't meet Yor's boyfriend, and she asks him if he can tell her brother that he was actually a kind gentleman. However, Camilla, the complete bitch, disagrees and states that she will make sure that Yuri learns that she came companionless. Yor then sits alone looking at the crowd and guessing that this is what a normal life is. The woman gossiped that she had the nerve to even come alone and still sit there. Hearing that, Yor decides to leave, but in that moment, our goat in shining armor, Twilight, finally arrives. As he bleeds, he apologizes for being late and introduces himself as Lloyd Forger, Yor's husband, accidentally mixing his and her mission. Lloyd explains that he is a psychiatrist and one of his patients had a violent episode. Camilla is surprised to hear that Yor is married and wonders why she hadn't ever said so. Lloyd explains that it was probably hard to bring up as it's his second marriage and he has a child from the first one. Camilla though gets angry, not wanting to believe that Yor actually has a handsome husband. Wanting to embarrass her instead, Camilla takes the hot gratin and acts as though she tripped over and throws it at Yor. Yor though stunts on her dumb ass and manages to capture the plate with her feet. Lloyd then admires her dedication to not waste food, but points out that she must not use her feet to catch the plate. Camilla then tries to tell Lloyd that Yor did some questionable work before working at the city hall, where she was called into hotel rooms to give massages. But obviously that was a cover-up for her assassinations. She attempts to explain it to Lloyd, but he interrupts her, saying that it was wonderful. Lloyd then explains that Yor lost her parents at a young age and did everything to care for her younger brother, and having to sacrifice herself for someone else requires an incredible amount of dedication. Lloyd and Yor then leave with our boy apologizing for saying that he was her husband. The van suddenly gets attacked by some of the remaining reinforcements, which causes Lloyd to wonder if there was a tracking device in the art pieces. He explains that some of his patients still haven't recovered from the psychotic episode. They leave the van and Lloyd manages to knock out the two men, explaining that he is using a concussive recovery method. Two more men attack Lloyd and he manages to knock the first, but as the second was about to hit him, Yor knocks him out. She apologizes for helping with the recovery and that she is actually a self-defense expert. They continue to run and defeat more men, and as they do so, Yor suggests that they should actually get married. Yor explains that she is considered suspicious for being single and they can remain together for both of their sakes. Lloyd agrees and wishes that they go to the city hall right away to get the marriage confirmed. Looking for the ring, he realizes his pocket has a hole and had lost the ring. Then as more men appear, the duo dive behind cover. Cheekily, Lloyd takes out a grenade and throws it at them, and at the same time, he uses the grenade's ring to propose to Yor, and she happily agrees. So that officially brings us to the very end of the first part of Spy X Family's story, which is, I'm not gonna lie, bloody awesome, and I'm super duper excited to be able to actually get into the story here. And obviously the next arc has actually already been completed by the anime, so I'm going to get into that in the next video for Spy X Family, which I don't know when it'll be out, but it'll be out in the up and coming weeks for sure. Obviously I've got like other series that I want to try and complete in the meantime as well, so I am working hard on those, and I've got a bunch of other content that is going to be coming out in the meantime as well that isn't like story-based stuff, but more like explanation-based stuff, if that makes sense. But yeah, either way, I hope you guys have enjoyed the video, and if you are new around here and want to watch more stuff just like this, but like other anime series or perhaps even more Spy X Family stuff in the future, hit that subscribe button and let me know down in the comment section below. And also, you know, make sure you try and get the video to 2,000 likes so that I know you guys are super like keen, obviously, on more Spy X Family. But anyway, for now, it's been your professional degenerate, TimeDiavolo, and I will see you all in a bit. Bye.